Hey guys, Kris here, and welcome to Madrid in Spain. Yes, I'm still in Spain after having driven the Cupra Tavascan, the Cupra Born, and now I'm outside of Madrid to drive this, the brand new Polestar 4. So in this video, I'm going to give you guys my driving impressions, my review of this, the brand new Polestar 4 dual motor performance. On July 15th, we are doing a giveaway to celebrate 50,000 subscribers here on the channel. In collaboration with Zaptec and then partnering up with Polestar as Polestar's recommended home charger, we are giving away 2 Zaptec GO home chargers. To enter, simply subscribe to this channel and comment down below, I want a Zaptec GO home charger. Thanks Zaptec for sponsoring this video. I've made a few videos on the Polestar 4 already, talking about the interior, doing a walkthrough and talking about the design, but this is the first time I'm able to drive this car, so this is actually pretty exciting. And this also has the Nappa leather interior, which is an interior I haven't seen. I've only seen it with the textile fabrics. So you know, that is interesting. We're just gonna pass some police officers over here. We're gonna go into the right. So I don't know, they have some kind of traffic stops or something like that. But yeah, so I have a lady speaking into the back of my head, which is pretty annoying. But we've been asked to keep her on because we're now following a you know, a pre-destination route. And it's not the quickest way because they want us to go to drive on the scenic roads, because we're going to what they're calling like the media hub, which is somewhere up on a mountainside here north of Madrid. The beautiful landscape here on these beautiful back roads, B roads, so we can really test out this car. But for us not to, you know, go the wrong way, we have to have this lady speaking to us, because if not, it would just reroutes us automatically. So we've already, you know, had a few instances where we're like, oh, we have to stop, reset it, stop and reset it. And you can't reset it while you're driving. We're not allowed to go into that menu. But okay, so that is that. I mean, the interior of the Polestar 4, as I've spoken about earlier, is a beautiful interior. I really like, you know, the material quality. I really like the design. You have this cocoon cockpit feel. It's just a really nice place to be, and at this price point where this competes, you know, with Mercedes EQE, with, you know, even Tesla Model 3, it is very impressive. The only thing I don't really like is this camera mirror, because this car doesn't have a rear view mirror, no rear view window, because of they wanted to keep this coupe shape body style, and for that they had to move the crash structure further back, and that meant moving it so much back that it eats into the rear visibility. So they just removed the rear window altogether and given us a camera here. On the road it's okay to use, but it's really strange because you have your focal point like so close to your eyes. It's just completely unnatural. And parking also seems to be pretty annoying. So we're gonna drive about an hour and a half up into the mountainside here. We are now in comfort mode, and I have this guy in this Peugeot 208, just 2008, just up my ass, really annoying. I'm going above the speed limit, so let's just, yeah, trust this car on some twisty roads here. We are in comfort mode. The steering is in its lightest setting, and it's a very composed car, very capable. Really nice suspension dampening, even though this is the performance model with 22-inch wheels. So you have the least amount of rubber, you have the biggest wheel option, so it should be the least comfortable. And these aren't perfect roads. I mean, you have patches of, you know, broken pavement here and there, and it is a little bit bumpy, but the composition of the suspension is pretty impressive. You have, you know, one motion and it just settles. But at the same time, it's compliant enough that it feels actually quite soft and comfortable. So I can't wait to take this back into Madrid. I just had to hear what the lady said. So I can't wait to take this car back into Madrid, you know, later today, and tested on some city streets, but out here in the countryside north of Madrid, it is actually very impressive. Steering also very precise. Is there a lot of feel? Yeah, actually weights up nicely. There's a little bit of feel. So we're just going to continue on here straight. After that, I want to put the car into its sportiest setting and see how it performs. The car we're testing today is a dual motor performance version in Swedish gold, as you guys can see here. This is quite a bold color. And you know, in Scandinavia, in Norway, in Sweden and Denmark, we have something called janteloven, which is, you know, very quickly broken down is you're not supposed to try to be flamboyant or stick out, or you gotta be try to be a little bit anonymous. So this being a Swedish car, it's quite funny that it is in Swedish gold. And even down here in Spain, where, you know, the culture is maybe a little bit more flamboyant, I still think this is pretty much out there. It's gold. I mean, come on, guys. So we've seen this car before. This is the Polestar 4 with that swooping, you know, front end. It also has the brand new dual blade headlight design we first saw with the Polestar Precept, I think, back in like 2020. And then we saw the Polestar 3 with also a variant of this dual blade design, but within the same lighting house. This is the first production Polestar. We've seen it where, as you guys can see here, it is split into two different lighting sections. So you have the top light and the bottom light here. So these are the DRLs, and I think you have the indicators up here. And then you have the low beams and high beams down low. And, you know, finally seeing the Polestar 4 in an environment that isn't a Polestar Space or an auto show here in, you know, this beautiful town an hour north of Madrid. I think it looks stunning. It is a really, really nice design. And the front end, very distinct, very Polestar. You have, you know, that Polestar body-colored logo. Yeah, I think it looks really nice. So from all of the marketing material about the Polestar 4, they're talking about this being a coupe SUV. And this is where I have to, you know, be a little bit critical, because first off, it's not a coupe. And is it an SUV? Well, I don't think it's nearly tall enough. Yes, it does have a little bit more ground clearance than a normal saloon or sedan maybe. But I've talked about this quite a few times. This in size, profile, you know, length, width, height is pretty, you know, much identical to the Mercedes EQE sedan. So you guys, you know, make your decision. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think this is a coupe? Do you think it is an SUV? Do you think it's a coupe SUV? Or do you just think it's a normal run-of-the-mill saloon or sedan? I think the latter. But in profile, there's no doubt in my mind that this is a very beautiful and striking design. It has, you know, that fastback shape, as you guys can see from the B-pillar and back. And this, again, being the performance version, you get these 22-inch performance wheels with the gold Brembo brakes. Yeah, I think it looks really nice. This also, I think, has like the bottom painted trim here. So the lower parts of the bumpers is painted, the lower parts of the doors, and I just think it gives an overall very beautiful and cohesive look. You have these door handles also that retract. You have the patented Polestar frameless mirrors where the whole housing moves instead of the glass. Overall, it's just a really nice and beautiful Scandinavian design. You can see here where this, you know, roofline slopes. We've talked about earlier in this video about how they move this crash structure from here to here. And that means you don't have any rear windows, or don't have a rear window. You have the charging port here on this side, which is electrically operated, which is actually really, really nice. There's a button here to close. And overall, in my opinion, I mean, call it what you want. Call it a coupe, call it a coupe SUV. Overall, I think it is in person and out here in the wild, a really attractive design. My favorite angle of the Polestar 4 has to be the rear end, and don't mind the number plate number. I know you guys are going to comment that down below, but you know, you may want to give this video a thumbs up, so I do appreciate that. But yeah, that aside, the rear end, I really like this rear light bar design. So like the front, we have a very distinct signature where the front we have, you know, the dual blade headlight design. And in the rear we have this beautiful, beautiful 3D rear light bar, which, you know, a rear light bar isn't anything unique. It's almost mandatory now in 2024 when you're going to make an electric car. But I think this design on the Polestar 4 is very distinct Polestar. We've seen it on the Polestar 3 now. We're going to see it on the Polestar 5 and also the Polestar 6. It just gives it a very distinct rear design. Also at the rear you have, you know, that body painted Polestar logo, which is really, really nice. And then, you know, you have this painted rear bumper. I think if you don't go for, you know, the body colored bottom parts of the car, this is actually blacked out. But the elephant in the room is the lack of a rear window. It may look a little bit weird. It's not the most intuitive to use. You have, you know, a rear camera up there, and then you have a mirror in the interior which projects that view. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I am a fan of the rear end. Finally, guys, we have a Polestar 4 with the beautiful Nappa leather interior. And for you guys who have been following the channel for, well, since the beginning or for a few years, know I'm a real sucker for not only light colored interiors, but also beautiful leathers. And I'm happy to report that the Nappa leather in this car, this interior, just elevates the interior quality, the feeling of luxuriness in this interior. I talked about this in my previous Polestar 4 video, the one I filmed at Polestar Space in Oslo. That car had the Microtech interior, so not the full leather interior. And I talked about that interior already being possibly the nicest interior in any car less than 100,000 euros or 1,000,000 Norwegian kroners. And this is no different. This leather, the beautiful ventilated seats, these, you know, beautiful sports seats, everything just feels so cohesive. And, you know, you have different types of materials on top of the dashboard. You have different types of fabrics. It's very simple and Scandinavian in its design, but at the same time, you have all of these different layers that makes it interesting. A Tesla interior is very simple and minimalistic, but in my opinion, too simple, too boring. Here, they haven't, you know, fallen into the same trap because the people at Polestar are driven by design. I mean, Max Mizzoni, the head of design, has been a head designer at Volvo, at Polestar. Thomas Ingelat, the CEO of Polestar, also was head of design at Volvo before he came to Polestar. So these are a whole bunch of people, engineers, who love great design, and that really shows in the interior. And I've been driving this car all day. The seats are comfortable. The steering wheel is really nice and comfortable in your hands. You have a volume knob. Everything just feels of high quality. In a day and age where a lot of car manufacturers seem to be, you know, cheapening their interiors, where in places you had, you know, soft touch plastics, they're cost cutting and, you know, decorating the interior with cheap materials. That's not the case here. And this being the performance version, you also have the Swedish gold seat belts to match the gold exterior and those gold brake calipers. So as I said, I've already covered the Polestar 4 in detail. So if you guys want a full overview of, you know, the infotainment system and also a review of the sound system in this car, I would highly recommend you guys to go check that video out. I will, you know, link it down below. But in this video, well, I have a little bit more of a time constraint because I want to do several videos today, and I'm soon off to hopefully do a range test in one of these. So that video maybe will be coming before this video. I don't actually know the scheduling now because there's an embargo here that I'm trying to work around if I could do a range test without talking about driving impressions. But this video, I've already talked about driving impressions, and yeah, an impressive car to drive. But I really want to show you guys this car because I haven't seen the Swedish gold exterior and also this Nappa leather interior, which is so beautiful in the rear seats. And again, quality is so high. You have, you know, this wetsuit type of Microtech material here on the seat backs. They didn't have to do that. This could have been cheap touch plastics, but it's so high quality. So everything you touch and feel just feels premium and luxury. And believe me, guys, you You who have been following the channel know I'm really into my high quality materials. My private vehicle is a Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo with the upgraded leather. I'm paying 5,000 euros extra just to get leather on top of the doors. And again, this doesn't have leather on top of the doors, but this is also half the price as a Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo. This huge rear seat, wheelbase is almost 3 meters. I'm at 5'10" or 178 centimeters, sitting behind myself. I have plenty of knee room. My only complaint is that the floor, the front seat, when it's sat all the way down to its lowest position, you don't have room for your feet underneath the front seats, which is a small complaint, but yeah, it is a complaint. But you know, overall, a really roomy rear seat. You have this expansive glass roof, and then you have this armrest where you can adjust the seat back. So you can sit normally, upright, or you can recline the rear seats. So yeah, if you're gonna carry people in the back, and you've been looking at a Polestar 2, the Polestar 2 is quite cramped. This is a lot bigger and much more comfortable. I've actually tried to film this take like 5 times. Once we get some clear roads, traffic hops in front of us. But now we seem like we've cleared some roads here, so I'm going to put the car into firm and suspension, performance for the drivetrain, and ESC sport mode on, but I'm going to keep the steering in light. I don't necessarily think you have to put the car into a heavier steering setting. I don't think it necessarily gives the car or the steering more feel. But yeah, this is impressive. This is the dual motor version, 544 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.8 seconds, 686 newton meters of torque, and 22-inch performance wheels, performance brakes, performance suspension. And this thing, yeah, this is impressive. It is really composed, and it has so much power. I mean, this is a fast car. You know, I recently spent a lot of time in the brand new Hyundai Ioniq 5N, and that is an impressively driving car. That's more of an SUV than this is, but this is also really impressive. You don't have, you know, that augmented sound experience in this car. You don't have the augmented, you know, paddle shifters, that 8-speed DCT simulated transmission with everything that brings. This is a more calm experience, but seriously, I think the steering in this car, and also the balance between comfort and ride and handling, may be better in this car than that Ioniq 5N, and that is a surprise. I actually didn't think I was going to think that. So we have a van in front of us. I just want to make a little bit of a gap here and maybe do like an acceleration run from a dig, and then try to push it in some of these corners. I mean, we're on some beautiful twisty roads here north of Madrid. And yeah, let's just put the pedal to the floor, and this thing rips. I mean, it is quick, and on these twisty roads, I mean, it's so composed and confidence inspiring. Yeah, and these Pirelli, Pirelli tires really grip. But this steering, actually really nice steering. It actually has a little bit of feedback. It feels very natural in its tuning. Yeah, weights up nicely. Much more feel than what we got in that Hyundai Ioniq 5N. But there, a little bit of speed, a little bit of, you know, direction change, a little bit of, you know, moving the mass right to left. You do feel the weight of this car. I think we felt the limit there, and that it is a taller vehicle, but still though, I mean, I was pushing it really hard there. Most people are not going to push it that hard. And when you go like 8/10 or 9/10, it's actually pretty fun. It's an impressively driving car. Yeah. When the Polestar 4 was first revealed, I had a real hard time understanding what cars it competes against. Is it a Tesla Model 3 competitor, or does it compete against a Tesla Model Y? And then Polestar go out and call it a coupe SUV, and that just confuses everybody, because it's neither. In my eyes, it's just a saloon with a centimeter ground clearance more than normal. That's it. Why call it anything else? Well, because we love SUVs. But if you really think hard about it, and you look at the exterior dimensions, you look at how big it is on the inside, you look at the packaging, the pricing, the equipment you're getting, the range and the performance, and the level of quality, it makes a lot of sense. It starts looking like a bargain because in my eyes, its main competitor is something like the Mercedes EQE Saloon, because it is very close in every aspect to that car. But it looks better, it drives better, it has a nicer interior, and it has a roomier back seat. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I like it a lot. I like it better than that Mercedes, and for the price, it's just great.